Hello, beautiful YouTube community. My name is Emily. Welcome to anyone tuning in for the first time. Welcome to all the longtime listeners. Before I turn on the recording button, I heard embodiment, embodiment, embodiment. So I like to first off, just call forth every person who will watch this video, and I would like to just include that collective here as the collective that I am speaking to through this channeling. And even though this is a public space, and as I've gone on my own journey, I feel like YouTube is not the ideal venue for sacred feminine arts. Yet at the same time, I know that by sharing and showing up and sharing these ancient art forms of feminine embodiment in particular, it can create an Akashic remembrance. And for those of us who have seen these ancient feminine arts that are returning to the planet now at this time on other timelines, although there's no such thing as time, so it is all one, but it can actually help us come into more of our soul remembrance and have a bioalchemical activation that propels forward our own unique ascension journey. And so, yes, that of course calling forth the protection of my guides and anybody who's watching, the protection of your guides, and really setting this space apart for the benefit of all sentient life and the true success of Mother Sophia Gaia's everybody has their own way of accessing the story of Mother Gaia. One really beautiful thing that I've accessed is that she was, in her original divine blueprint, she was designed to be some people say fifth dimensional plane of existence. I feel that it was actually a little bit higher, like seventh or eighth dimensional was her original. There's like only light language. I could probably tell you all this better in light language. But then, of course, we know that she went through the fall of consciousness and descended in dimension. But the beautiful thing is about any fall is that the fall will then propel you to become something even greater than you were originally designed to be, because through the fall, there will be prayers, there will be hopes, wishes, dreams, and that collective prayer for what would be a peaceful Mother Gaia, and also the learning of what is actually ideal. And I was going to take some Platonic route and talk about the ideal and the real, but we're not going to take that route. Okay, Mama Gaia. If you have noticed, there is a lot of volcanic activity happening. Just recently, there were 3 volcanoes that erupted quite large magma flows, one in Guatemala, one in Italy, and one in Hawaii. And they do think that there is this lava lake, like a magma lake, maybe so deep that it connects both the Jackson Hole Geyser area and the Great North Pacific ranges. So there's a lot of movement going on. I feel this when I tune into our Mother Sophia Gaia, who will be fine. Like, humanity may not survive, but humans, I think that there will be humans that I know. It's like when Carl Jung said, someone asked him, do you believe in God? He said, I don't believe in God, I know. And like, that's like the feeling of like, I know that there will be humans who are in enough synergy alignment with nature and enough in their embodiment with our planet through a peaceful plane of So, Yamatuaramata, Nakia Suaramata, Ikia Ramasata, Arumaa, Kia Rama Asa Uara, Ikia Su Uta Ara, Mi Ai Kia Tua. Okay, getting back to our embodiment. So, I will share from my perspective because when I had been a spiritual person my whole life, like I was thinking back to like some of my earlier spiritual experiences. I had one quite young. My grandfather had a cabin on the Strawberry River, and I was all alone, which is rare. I think my mother was watching me, but she was far away because I was sitting on a bridge over a river. And I didn't know about light codes then, but I certainly do now. So there was all this water like splashing me, negative ions, but also sunlight hitting the water and bouncing off the water, right? And I received what I now know to be a light body activation, or a light body I did a drawing. Let me get my drawing. I'll be right back. Okay, so as my friend Bethany said, this should probably be taught in like kindergarten, but ignore the coloring, because the coloring was more for play and fun than it was like some important thing. And this is I've been doing cross-disciplinary studies of the ways we talk about this kosha, our koshas, our bodies, our lighted essence. But essentially, as we go on our ascension path, most of us are just simply like here in our gross body, and we're living our life according to our gross body and the energy of the gross body. But then as we go on our awakening journey, we have something called an etheric double. This is like kind of what the Ka is in Egyptian mythology. But the etheric double will awaken, and we will begin to feel the energetic currents of our prana through our etheric double, which is essentially a perfect lighted blueprint field of our physical body temple. And then I think this is where the real, like when people say like, oh, I've had many spiritual awakenings, but one of them really fucking hit me hard. You know that one. I know that one. When we bump into our astral body, okay? Once we start being consciously aware of our astral field, I feel like because the astral plane is so related to the mental plane, and because the astral field really contains everything that, this is my own understanding of it that I receive from my guides, so I don't think you'll hear this elsewhere, but think of the astral plane as every thought ever thought in creation, right? I think one thought, okay, it's just a little thought vibration. I think that thought 10,000 times, it might become a thought body. Other people think that thought body gets clumped together and becomes something like an entity. And then, of course, these astral beings then enter. Does anyone know what looshing is? The looshing phase, where they can actually start consuming and digesting, and they like need food and energy and all these things. Anyway, when I had my Kundalini awakening and walk-in, I went from, mostly feeling my physical body, my emotional body, and my etheric double into being very aware of my astral body. And anybody who's going through a Kundalini awakening knows, okay, this is if it's a true Kundalini awakening, you will know that it comes with sensations like phantom vibrations. Like when people say, you know, oh, I have phantom limb. I somehow lost my arm, but yet I still feel like my arm is there and it could move. Okay, this is like that times 100 when you enter the realm of your astral existence, depending on if you're an old soul or an highly evolved soul. I think you can have different levels of intensity or power within your astral field. I think a lot of people get trapped here in the astral body, and they don't make it beyond into these upper causal body, celestial body, and radiant body fields of existence. But that's not really the conversation, except for the fact that bringing in your full divine embodiment is hard to do. Not only because what you are able to do, be, and express, the amount of creative potentiality and power that you're able to harness, the elemental exchange and ability to create causal plane shifts amps up as you go on your initiatory path. And I believe that each and every person has their own unique initiatory path based on their reason for being, why they were prayed for, asked for, wished for, like what the ancestors in the past were calling for and what the future generations were needing, which birthed the creation of a beautiful soul to come into being, to be as it is, and to embody whatever archetypal, energetic codex that is needed for the evolution of consciousness on consciousness's supreme journey. So if Aries and Saturn, patriarchy, like Big Daddy energy, moving into Aries, temple, god of war temple, and Jupiter, big expansion energy, moving into Cancer tomorrow, mother of mother energy, matriarchy energy, like loving mother energy, okay? It's going to be like toxic patriarchy. Hopefully it will just extinguish itself. And loving mother energy kind of like doing this like woo, woo, woo. We might be seeing that playing out in the collective. Hopefully that goes peaceful. What we need to worry about as a collective is loving and honoring our bodies, and knowing that without this beautiful body that each and every one of us have, this body is a gift. This body should not give its power away to any galactic being. Like, honor the galactics, yes, they have their place, but you're here in a body 2 feet, hopefully 2 feet on Earth. If you don't have 2 feet, God bless you, and you still have a base of who you are that connects to this earth and can be resourced in ways that are unfathomable, and beyond your wildest imagination. So it's like you come into your divine embodiment. And when you do that, it will trigger so many people, because especially if you're a feminine being and you have ovaries and you bleed and you have breasts that can milk a baby and you're like a true feminine embodiment this life, okay, feminine, masculine, this could be up for debate, but I don't know that one is necessarily better than the other. I'm pretty sure they need each other equally and effectively. And so what has been suppressed, denied, rejected, and betrayed, beheaded, murdered, killed, burnt, suffocated, choked, blah, what has been harmed has been the feminine embodiment, so much so that so many people have simply forgotten what true feminine power looks like. And when I walked in 2019, what happened was, like, overnight, I moved into a much greater field of energetic embodiment, without a teacher, without a context, and without discernment, because yeah, who cares? Like, it's in the past and we bless it and love it, and I love it. I love my whole story, as you should love your whole story. But as I have continued for 5.5 years since that moment, and I have been able to fully digest and fully integrate the experience that I had, and also to meet the beautiful community and friends that I now have, and feel an affinity, a likeness, a oneness, a soul family like understanding of communion and connection that is real, true, balanced, good, virtuous, harmonious, and like peaceful. I have begun to realize that the reason it's so hard for people to embody who they are, why they were prayed for, asked for, designed, and came to be, is because just by doing that, just by being who you are truly here to be, it's like Esther Hicks, good old Esther. One person being who they're truly here to be is like, I forget how much she says, but like 50,000 times more powerful than someone trying to be and do and have what the matrix programming of the simulation is telling you to be, do, and have. Okay, that feels like the end of the message. Anything else? Okay, we'll do just one final lay code. Tiara nyama moya tiara shianana tiara mama kiara rahia tura hasatarama kiara yamatura sura shkura surushu rushu rushianatara kiala mahana Tiala manana hiana kia mama, tiasa iama iama ialala, ikia mama sakikikahi, karama shakia, kuarama mama. Sikatakaya shakia makia mama, tuara mama takia bahianana, kiara baba satia papa, kituara mama. Hikiragaya ma, sikaragaya, sikaragaya ma, sikaragaya, sikaragaya, shiama tuarama ana. Like a new connection, a second chance. Here we go for the first time. Blank page energy. Whoever is like, you know when you feel this soul call that someone is like coming into your life and then they arrive, pay attention. You know, like Pay attention. There's certain moments on our path in our life and our journey where people come into our life. Pay attention. Who's coming into your life? Pay attention. You know, like, pay attention, I guess. Okay, much love.